So our next speaker, he is a man with many talents. Actually, your resume is too long for me to memorize.
Say nothing.
And because my brain is not that sharp after 2 weeks of this. But you're going to be talking about the Pollinator project and your passion, which is a plant-based diet.
That too.
Okay, so could you introduce yourself and where you're from?
All right. Thank you very much, Steve, for that opportunity to present here today at the Rotary Xperience. My name is Manish Mehta, and I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Ann Arbor North, which is in District 6380 in Southeast Michigan, beautiful town called Tree Town, Ann Arbor. I'm also the director of international service, and I'm a second-generation Rotarian. You heard from a third-generation Rotarian earlier in the morning. I'm a second-generation Rotarian. My dad was a member of Rotary clubs because of his job. We lived in East Africa, in India, in Singapore, and finally I'm back here in the US, and I'm a 30-year Rotarian. I've had about a 35-year career after grad school in the automotive industry, the defense industry, and the aerospace industry, working with scaling and industrialization of new materials out of laboratories into commercial application through pre-competitive research, collaboration, ventures, and technology development initiatives that I've led over last few decades. But here I'm deputed to speak on another passionate program known as Operation Pollination. And the proponent of this is another member of the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group, which I'm also a member of for the last about four and a half years. So my topic, I'm going to talk twice today, actually, and they asked me to just speak continuously on this Operation Pollination and then plant-rich diets as well right away. So 2 presentations coming up. This one will last about 5-6 minutes, and then we'll go on to the next one. So Operation Pollination is presented on behalf of Rotarian Chris Tyne, who is a member from Minnesota, and he's with the National Park Service and responsible for pollinator partnerships. So I'm going to advance this. Just a quick summary of what is ESRAG. There is a poster in the back there of the room, but ESRAG has groups and task forces that are working on all of these areas from biodiversity, circular economy, climate, food systems, pollution, and sustainable living. So it turns out pollinators affect all these four areas that I've shown in red. And therefore, I'm going to address those specifically as we go through the quick presentation. What are pollinators? These are little amazing creatures that take care of reproduction and transferring plant DNA from one to another so that we start getting fruits and the products of agriculture on an industrial scale. And typically bees, wasps, flies, beetles, butterflies, moths, right? And you all know those. Part of your basic science. The problem is these free ecosystem services are being endangered right now because there is a significant drop in the population of pollinators, not only in North America, but in many parts of the world, for many reasons. One is clearly pollution, use of destructive pesticides that affect their habitat and reproduction, and just many other forces. Obviously, deforestation is a really big one, right? Where do these guys hide? Where do they put their nests? Where do they plant their eggs, et cetera? So you have to look into those aspects. But the important thing is that pollinators are responsible for pollinating at least 85% of the world's plants, and that result into the food system we consume. And with this decline, life is unsustainable if we cannot continue on this trend. Some of the best recognized pollinators are the monarch butterflies in North America, for where we live, across all the way from North America, from Canada down to Mexico and all of the US landmass. The population and the area occupied by monarch butterflies in the last 3 decades or so has declined greatly. And you can see some of these bar graphs that are provided here. They range all the way from 1993 to now, 2024. And the clear trend is we are way down in the total area occupied by monarchs at the overwintering sites in Mexico. So there's something affecting them. And clearly, one of the points we've found is lack of habitat locations as they migrate annually from Mexico after overwintering into the spring and summer, and even part of the fall seasons, all the way up into as far north as Canada and southern Ontario. So the Operation Pollination is a part of a 7th area of focus thrust of Rotary International. There are 6 others I won't get into for lack of time, but protecting the environment is a very important thrust area for Rotary. As Steve Bender said earlier, from 2019, it's become an official area of operation. So our goals in the pollinator partnerships are primarily 2. One is habitat restoration, and the second is pollinator education, spreading awareness at all levels, from schools to professional and civic groups and societies and communities, etc., to get the populations of pollinators back up again so that they can do their thing. And what we have got here is the Pollinator Pledge, which provides several different ideas that could be suited and customized for the communities you all live in, and so that you can take some action here in restoring either pollinator habitats or addressing the awareness and the education challenge that we also face. You could plant a pollinator garden, which is something my Rotary Club has done for almost 50 years now in the city of Ann Arbor in partnership with the City Council. Or you could hand out native seed packets to school children, well, small things. So small, large, medium, they're all over here. Obviously, work at reducing pesticide use. Have a no-mow May. We got April showers all over the Midwest right now, and there's a chance you're going to have so many blossoms in May that you don't want to mow your lawns and allow these wildflowers and seeds to kind of grow and thrive and benefit from pollinator action. You could present educational programs in communities, paint a mural, something simple as that, just to get people to subliminally think about pollinators. Help other organizations restore and reforest land. And by the way, ask me after this talk about what we are doing to work in reforestation in India. It's an interesting program I have. My Rotary Club is partnered with an all-women's Rotary Club in the city of Udaipur, India, and an Australian sponsoring Rotary Club on a project led by a gentleman who's better known as a toilet warrior. That's an amazing project we're working on in restoring and reforesting mined land, mined meaning from stone quarries. And item 8 there, support a pollinator organization in your community or neighborhood. So the options are always left to you. So 2 examples. The community of Shoreview, Minnesota, profile them up there with a beautiful pollinator garden that you can see when the area is not frozen. You can convert it into something fancy like this. Look at all the colors, vibrant colors. The bottom 2 photos, I'm proud to say, are from my own Rotary Club of Ann Arbor North. And some of my Rotarians, the worker bees, human worker bees featured there, who volunteer throughout a season on occasion as the needs of this pollinator garden emerge. So we call it the butterfly and hummingbird garden, and also do things to attract hummingbirds as well. So we put in feeders there. We've got the right kinds of plants and flowering plants growing, especially milkweed, because Ann Arbor is an important stop in the Midwest along the flight path of the monarch butterfly. So this is part of the thrust. We also have the gentleman on the right-hand side, the tall gentleman, these are proponents, Scott Nelson. And we also have a large poster display on the life cycle of a butterfly. Again, it's part of the public education as well as habitat restoration, all put into one package. An example, and of course, ultimately what it comes down to, if we can work with pollinators and restore gardens and raise awareness, we need food security. National security is important, therefore, and healthy ecosystems, most important, because for great human health, you need healthy food and you need healthy planets. So that's, and of course, it comes to looking at everything we consume. My last slide as this part of the presentation on pollinators is just to show you this pollinator pledge has been adopted in many parts of the world already by Rotary clubs. And the stars just represent the countries, but there are multiple Rotary clubs in each country. So each star represents many more Rotary clubs that have adopted the pledge. During the presidency of the world's first woman Rotary International President, Jennifer Jones, who happens to be from Windsor, Ontario, we had a campaign to launch a boxcar with the monarch butterfly logo on it. And essentially, Canadian Pacific Railways took this boxcar all along the trail of the pollinator. So the red arrow that you see across the United States map there is approximately the path of the Pollinator Express, or the Monarch Express as we call it. And it took about 6-7 months to pass through. Idea being to stop at each place, encourage Rotary clubs and communities to gather and organize pollinator gardens along the way. It took 28 boxcars, it made 28 stops along the way to all the way to Mexico at the end of the year 2023. So this is something we have done. 80 Rotary districts have adopted it, and 253 pledges. Last slide on this, I just want to acknowledge these slides were prepared by Mr. Chris Stein with the National Park Service. That's his contact information if you'll take it down, and he will send you the information you need on getting started with the Pollinator Pledge. I had a video, but not enough time to play it, so I will not do it. All right, on to the next presentation, please, which is on plant-rich diets. Awesome. So here, it's all connected, you know. We are interdependent on other life forms for our own survival, as I just showed you in the pollinator presentation. Now, more than ever, what's more important is how we, address the transition from significant dependence on the meat and non-vegetarian industry, because everything is farmed and grown and processed on an industrial scale. So we have, in this plant-rich diet task force of ESRAG, we have recognized the need to find ways to reduce our consumption of products that are both unhealthy for the human diet and human health, but also for the planet. And as I'll show you in this presentation, that plant-rich diets can be a really delicious climate solution, and an important one. And I'm so pleased, it's my privilege to stand between you and lunch, so you have the option of testing yourself shortly as you choose a plant-friendly diet. So our mission here is to inspire global Rotarians and the public to adopt plant-rich diets so that, one, you can reduce your carbon and karmic footprint, you can promote environmental sustainability within yourselves, your community, your family, and just in your Rotary clubs as well. And you can help improve human and planetary health by adopting a little bit of behavior change. How are we doing this? There's a myriad of ways here. And what I've done is to show you, take a quick photo of this so you can look at what are the best ways to green your club, or to hold club projects and fund global grants perhaps, or to, the most important thing I'm going to talk to you today, because it is Earth Day, is our launch of a 15-day plant-rich diet challenge. So the items in bold here are everything I intend to cover in this talk. And there is an ESRAG Rotary Green Events Handbook that I want to bring to your attention. There are many Rotary clubs around the world. I'm showing an example of this Rotary club in Singapore, Marina City, high-profile club that has done an amazing job of holding annual events on promoting plant-based diets in their community. My Rotary club, Ann Arbor North, has been also active in this area. In Michigan, we have other clubs. The photo here shows one of the strongest activists and humanitarians in the world. His name is Philip Wollen, a citizen of Australia from Melbourne, who is very big on sustainability and the amount and highlighting the amount of industrialized agriculture and the damage that it causes. to the environment and to the planet. So we'll go through this list separately. As an example, if you do nothing, take part in a global grant to help promote plant-rich and diets and avoid food waste, for example. What we did in our club was to partner with a club at St. Thomas in the US Virgin Islands that is very vulnerable to lots of climate events. Hurricanes pass through and they shut out the lights and cut out electricity for long periods of time. You've heard cases in Puerto Rico, for example, happening too frequently lately. But in St. Thomas as well, the cost of electricity is 3 times the cost of electricity on mainland United States. You know that's not sustainable. So we partnered with the Rotary Club here and several others to essentially install a solar roof on a farmer's market that powers a 10 by 10 foot walk-in refrigerator, which then is used by the local farmers in that area that bring produce to store it for longer periods of time, so unsold produce doesn't get thrown away. It can be stored for longer, and therefore, purchased on a different day if it doesn't get sold right away. So that's the kind of example. We have a battery backup system as well at this location, so in case of any power outage, they're still covered for some periods of time. That's a picture of the solar roof, and I would just want to give a shout out to our champion, Doug White, the one wearing the hat there, the nice straw hat. He's been an advocate in ESRAG for a very long time, and he's one of our icons, rock stars in ESRAG and plant-rich diets. So coming to the whole problem, the crux of the problem is right here, that producing animal-based foods is way more harmful to our planet than producing plant-based foods is. I'm sure you'll all agree. So the statistics here show that per ton of protein consumed, and I know I'm speaking in a cattle ranching state, but I have to tell you the truth. This is what the issues are around generating a protein from various sources. One side is the animal-based proteins: beef, dairy, poultry, pork, eggs, farmed fish. On the other side, look at the footprints that the legumes, roots, tubers, maize, rice, and wheat have, much lower, both in terms of land use, freshwater consumption, greenhouse gas emissions, and perhaps other hazardous wastes as well that come out of the treatment of pollution and effluents and all the other aspects that are significant in industrialized factory farming. So this is why it devastates the planet, because one, we have problems with climate change, so much deforestation. You can see an example here in the tropics in Brazil of what it takes to support large animal agriculture while we are already planting crops that are used to feed these animals and then processing them. So there's multiple steps here involved. But water pollution, depletion, tropical deforestation, as I said earlier, species decline is a very big issue right now because of the deforestation and the loss of biodiversity, and then the soil degradation that comes along with it. And then, of course, it's just inefficient land use. Some statistics show that as much as 85% of the world's arable land is dedicated to support the animal agriculture industry. That's a big issue. Same thing, our oceans, and we talked about reefs earlier with the previous speaker, but our oceans are also overfished and also leading to an unsustainable lifestyle. So I won't get into the statistics here, but the point being that the biodiversity in the oceans has also reduced significantly, again, due to the industrialized fish farming. So we estimate that, this is the World Resources Institute, by the way, that if 2 billion high consumers could cut their meat and dairy consumption by 40%, that's 2 days a week, for example, it would save an area of land twice the size of India and avoid 168 billion tons of future greenhouse gas emissions, which is 3x the total global emissions that were recorded in 2009. So there's a significant impact we can make, and this is to you all, my call is it's the most urgent thing we could do to help bring down the Earth's global warming temperature by the 1.5 degrees estimate by 2030. If we all took immediate and urgent action and personal action by looking at the footprint of the products we put on our platters each day. And if we could just do that mindfully and consciously, we could make a difference. And here's just a few ways that you could do this by. One is go meatless 1 day a week. Take 1 meal a day, make it all 100% plant-based. Swap out cow's milk for non-dairy milk sources, and there are many there. Soy, flax, oat, almond, pea, etc. Or you could eat plant-rich whenever you want to, because there are so many options today available that will help support that new lifestyle as you help to work towards reducing your footprint. The other big issue is, or rather not issue, but the benefit of plant-rich diets is improved human health, lots of recorded cases and lots of studies already prove that you can change your cardiac and your blood pressure, hypertension, cholesterol levels, all of them improve significantly with a plant-rich diet. Take a look at this documentary, Forks Over Knives, when you have a chance. This is a recommended Eat Lancet Planetary Health diet, consisting mostly of vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, and nuts and seeds, and a smaller amount of meat, dairy, eggs, or fish. So, announcing today, Earth Day, let's work on restoring our planet by eating more plants and fewer animal products. We have online, if you go to this website, Plant-Rich Diet at ESRAG, you can make a difference starting today by taking our 15-day Plant-Rich Diet Challenge. You will get all kinds of information when you sign up for it. It's voluntary. It's entirely based on the honor system. You work at it yourself. We'll provide recipes, cooking demos, live Q&A, tips, and many more things to support you if you choose to take this path in reducing your behavior. So, as an example, and I only got one example here to show you, each day a person who eats a plant-based diet can save 1,100 gallons of water, 45 pounds of grain, 30 square foot of forested land, 20 pounds of CO2 equivalent, and at least one animal's life. And that is the equivalent, think about it. We don't, the analogy here is, imagine pulling your toilet flush for 6 months, on average 3 or 4 times a day that you go to the bathroom, all right? The amount of water it takes to do that for 6 months is the same that it takes to generate a life cycle basis, 1/4 pound of beef. So think about that. And there are other analogies here too. So I know I'm going to be kicked out here. You already heard about the 4-way test of Rotary, and we've tested plant-rich diets against the statement of truth, fairness, goodwill, and benefit. And say no more. I want to thank you for your time and appreciate you thinking about Mother Earth today and about yourself as well as you go along on your path to plant-rich diets. Thank you all very much.
Let's have a round of applause. And stay up here for a second. Now, I can't start on this 15-day challenge till I leave Dallas. But what I'd like to do is get a show of hands who's willing to try this in the future. Would everybody start with a 15-day program? If we can do that, then everybody come back next year. I'll buy you a drink.
I'm impressed.
Okay. Thank you so much. Round of applause.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you.